Hey friends, what's going on? This is Andy coming to you with episode number 10 of Enter the Chill Zone, my demo series that I'm doing here at the Daily Funk Club, where I'm going through every bass that I have here and just doing kind of a, like a chilled out, sit down and talk about the bass, play it for you, let you hear it, tell you about the specs kind of videos, alright? So today it's a real fun one. I've got the Reverend Mercalli 20th anniversary bass, 5-string, and my relationship with Reverend started at the Dallas International Guitar Festival, where I was down there, and I met those guys, and I saw this bass sitting at their booth, and from a distance I was like drawn to it. Of course, it's very beautiful. It has this sky blue stain over a flame maple top, and this cool polished aluminum pickguard on there, and like from a distance I saw it and I was just like, wow, that looks cool. It looks really unusual. For me, it's got this kind of retro hip, atomic age retro hip vibe that I just love, and I was drawn to it, so I went and I started talking to them. My friend TJ Armstrong introduced me to those guys, and I started playing it, and I just fell in love with the instrument. I started asking questions about it, the price point, and where they were made and everything like that. And I got a really good vibe from the people, the Reverend people, and we formed a relationship. So they decided to come in here and be, kind of a sponsoring brand here at the Daily Funk Club, and they sent me out this bass, and I've had it for 3 or 4 months now. I'm happy to say it's holding up perfectly. It was delivered to me set up really, really well, and I've done nothing to it, absolutely nothing. I haven't turned the truss rod or anything. It's got great action, and everything functionally has really held up wonderful. So let me tell you about the specs. It's got a 5-piece maple and walnut laminated bolt-on neck with the 6 bolts. It's got the Hipshot ultralight tuners on there, so those are premium tuners. Graphite nut, maple fingerboard, really nicely done fret dressing, and I gotta compliment them on the way that they do their final setups and preparation prior to shipping, because it's really, really clean, and as is a testament of the quality of wood that they're using and the way that it's dried properly. There hasn't been any shrinking, So typically what happens on a brand new bass is 2-3 months after it's built, especially when it comes out here to Colorado. It's organic material. The wood starts shrinking up and the fret starts sticking out the edge. But this has no sharp fret edges or anything. So that tells me that the wood that was used in production was dried real well ahead of time. And that's just something that's real important and doesn't always happen. Especially with an imported instrument. Yeah, like I said, it has this bound top with the flame maple and the pretty sky blue finish. It has their own pickups in it, their own custom pickups in it, which is they're named the split brick, which is like a reverse P in a humbucker case, and then the split brick, and then the thick brick in the back, which is a dual coil humbucker. It's a passive instrument. The controls are volume, tone, and blend. and it has this great locking bridge, which can be either top loaded or back loaded through the body. And it's got the 20th anniversary insignia on the back of the headstock, and also at the end of the fingerboard. 1997 to 2017. I first actually learned about Reverend guitars back a long time ago when they came out with the Rumblefish bass, and I always thought that it was just a super cool looking, kind of retro hip looking instrument. So I had known about them, but I had not played them. So let's hear what it sounds like. You know, I guess initially my assessment of it from a tonal standpoint is that it's like a big, huge, gigantic, fat P-bass kind of sound, especially when it's rolled to the front pickup, which it is right now. Now it's a 34-inch scale, and that B is ultra tight, no flat. No rattling on the fingerboard. Ultra tight. I have to be careful I don't get carried away, because I'll sit here and play it for 15 minutes on one setting. Okay, so now let's hear what just the back pickup sounds like. Really even across the whole fretboard. You know, the fretwork is so crucial, and the way that the nut is cut. There's no wolf tones. You know, wolf tones, it's like when you're playing a certain chord, if a bass is improperly set up and the truss rod is not dialed in right, and particularly the nut is not cut right, when you play, like if you play that D by itself, you won't hear any buzz, and if you play that B, you won't, but when you play them together, the E string will start rattling behind here. It'll start rattling up in here. This has none of that. in tune sounding, and it's got this great. I love this great high mass locking solid bridge, because I like to play, you know, hard a lot of the time. You know, I like to be able to rip on a bass, you know, dig in and just really get after it, and all that kind of sassy, really, you know, the tones and that soulfulness and that kind of super aggressive, expressive stuff. Stuff for me starts to really come out when you dig in and start bending the strings and just putting a lot of pressure on the instrument. So it performs well under that kind of heavy duress. It sounds great with a pick. I don't have one here sitting right here at the moment, but here, let's see what it sounds like with something like this with the sound like with a pick. Of course, that's double thumbing. So yeah, I mean, it's got that. It's just a kick-ass, passive, big, clear, clean, robust sounding instrument. To play it, to hold it, and to wear it, it balances perfectly. I love the headstock on this. You know, I just love the shape of it. I love the way that it looks, and I love the way the logo location is. I love the way that the lamination strips show through. I love the way that it hangs off the shoulder. It's a big bass. It's not a heavy bass. It's not like a tank. No, definitely not. But it's not like a light, you know, featherweight either. It's solid, you know, and it feels solid. It has a C-shaped neck, what I would consider to be like a medium C-shaped neck, or I believe they call it an oval, a medium oval. You know, it's not ultra thin front to back. It's got some significant mass to the neck, but it's not a baseball bat either. It's kind of, you know, right there in the middle. And I think that all of this is contributing to why it performs well. You know, why it, you know, if an instrument's gonna do its thing well, there's all the factors that come into it. The neck, how it's fastened to the body, the tightness of the tolerance of the neck pocket, the fact that it's bolted on with 6 bolts, so that transition is good and tight. And then having a really great bridge, and you know, and then, you know, the other end of the hardware spectrum, having good solid hardware on the other side. You know, you feel the instrument vibrating, and it's definitely not. You know, the reason it sounds good is because it starts with good construction. And then these pickups, you know, I don't know specifically what they do special about them. It's their custom pickups. I have no desire to change anything on this instrument. You know, it's kind of like perfect the way it is. You know what I mean? It doesn't need anything. There's this roundness. There's this roundness to it. This boing that it has, like. like shuffles and these kind of round tone types of things. Frequency range. It's got that natural kind of open sound, and it's just a great tone. What can I say? It's just a great tone, and it's a tone that it's like all the strings sound good. It's not like it's got a great low B, but the G sounds bad or weird. It's like it's all there. And that's on the P pickup. Let's try it with both. Now, typically, I never use both pickups together at the same time, full on. And that's why, because immediately it sounds robbed. Something is getting robbed. It gets scooped. Now watch what happens when I take this. This blend control is really nice. Watch what happens when I take it from in the flat at the indent and I roll it just a little bit to the front. So here it is. That's with it in the middle. Both pickups all the way. Now rolled 15% to the front. Back to the middle. Now just to the back a little bit. Back to the middle. So for sure, just the two places that I live are the four places, let's say, that I live on this blend control are all the way to the front, halfway rolled to the front, halfway rolled to the back, and all the way to the back. This is what it sounds like, halfway rolled to the back. All the way to the back. Hello. Middle. Halfway roll to the front. Just the front. The Reverend Mercalli 20th anniversary 5-string super cool, retro hip, you know, passive, big open 5-string. You know, it's not easy to do a passive 5-string. That is something that is definitely harder. It relies a lot on construction and wood quality and hardware quality to make a passive 5-string work right. So compliments and kudos to those guys.